Hey folks, this is Vincent Natalie with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and welcome to episode 41 of the DGA podcast. I am your host, Vince, and with me is
Idali?
Ida Lee, as already mentioned, in case we forgot.
Yeah.
So, episode 41. We just posted our DGA awards for the board game and video games of 2022, so we are a bit pooped. So, this is going to be an extremely quick podcast. My soundboard isn't working either. Don't worry, I managed to queue up at least the Q Mariachi band for the Spanish sentence, but other than that, it's going to be a
We
very
can
quick, down and dirty. We could make our own sound
we
effects.
can
Is that
make
what
our
you?
own sounds.
That's
Yeah.
awful. No, no. So,
Okay, fine.
in case you couldn't tell from my image behind me, it's a very cold and bleak setting there. And there's a game that I've been playing, in fact, that one that I'm looking at behind me, that I've been playing for a while, and that's one of the reasons that sort of prompted me to create this list. Top 5 games where the cold can kill you. These are games where you've got these cold slash temperature mechanics that will completely ruin your day if you don't do something about it. And I like that you're visually showing us how cold it possibly is. Is it really cold in the living room, or are you just being an actor right now?
It's kind of cold in the
Oh,
living room,
all
but
right.
it's mainly for the podcast
I
too.
see. All right. Well, like I said, we're going to make this nice and quick. So we'll just jump right into our number 5. Now, we just agreed on a list this time, so you're only going to see 5 entries today. I know, aren't you guys lucky? All right, so our number 5 entry here is a game called Oxygen Not Included. And I know what you're thinking. Well, what are you talking about? There's no, like, ice or frost. Well, here's the thing. You may not have played Oxygen Not Included for a while, because if you had, you would know that temperature is actually a thing in this game, and it can kill you. In the beginning of the game, you start in a nice temperate zone, and you typically don't even have to worry about it. However, when you start creating machines, it'll start heating up the surrounding area. However, to combat that, you have to dig into these cold ice biomes. And what you end up with is you've got hot machines in one part of your base or throughout your base, and then you've got a cold biome. And if you don't control the cold into your base, everyone will freeze and die. So, believe it or not, temperature is actually an important thing, and oxygen not included. Even though the primary core of this is don't run out of air, breathable air anyway, temperature actually matters in this game. And yeah, you've played this before, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I
Have you
I've
gotten far enough to have to deal with temperature?
not really. I always die because like right after I build my first room, I just die. I don't even know how,
Of
but I just
asphyxiation or hunger or what?
I don't probably hunger.
There's a lot of things in this game that can kill
Oh,
you.
ooh, excuse me.
But I mean, based on the other games on our list that are in our honorable mentions, this was, I think, slightly more detrimental, if I had to
Okay.
say. But yeah, oxygen not included for those of you that don't know, and we've covered this game before. You start with like
Mhm.
3 duplicants, as they're called, in this little small cramped area, and you're building a base. And as far as the ultimate goal is concerned, I believe it's creating a rocket and blasting off, but there's also now DLC that covers like going to different planets and controlling. I've never
Ooh.
gotten that far. This game is so nitty picky with the details when it comes to survival. Like, oh, there's bacteria in the water. How do I clear that out? Temperature in this game matters because you can actually heat areas or cool areas. If you can actually heat water, you can actually kill the bacteria in the water if you
Mhm.
can get the water hot enough, and then you can bring water through pipes through the cold biome, and then bring that cold water back from the through the pipes into your base so that you've got nice cool water again, and it serves as an air conditioning unit. You can run this piping with the cold water near rooms that pump oxygen through your base. So you end
Mhm.
up with this cold oxygen supply that's acting like an air conditioner. It's really weird. It's different, but at the same time it can kill you if you're not careful enough. So
So you kind of have to make a room and close it off for it to be freezing to store food, right? Like a fridge.
You can do that. Well, you can construct a freezer, which will do the same thing. But yes, you can construct. You can wall off a room and insulate it so that it stays nice and cold. And there's a reason, like I said, why you want to do that. If you generate air in there and then pump air out of there, you end up with nice chilled air, and you can pump that throughout your base,
Mhm.
specifically near your machines that generate a lot of heat so that you don't die of heat stroke. But at the same time, you can drill into the cold biome and that air will drift down into your base, and it's a frost wave that will just completely wreck your entire playthrough if you're not careful. So
Mhm.
like this game like is all about walling off new biomes and making sure that there's no bleed through if you can help it. But later in the game, like mid to late game, temperature becomes a real thing in this game.
It's also a good way, like walling off. It's also and having like a really cold room.
Hmm.
It's also a good way of killing off a villager that you don't want, right?
You
Like,
could, but you're leveling these guys up and increasing their skills. You don't want any of them to die. But no, if you
it's
want to be, if you want to be all
well,
dictator
some of
about
them.
it,
I know you can pick like three of them, like one out of three choices that they give you, right?
yeah, every now and again the portal will activate and you can choose one of three duplicants, or you can pass on all of them.
Oh,
You don't
okay,
have to
okay.
take them in.
Oh,
So
okay,
you
okay.
take in the people that you want. No, if you're feeling mad, like let's say you've been on Reddit and you're just sick of it, and you're
You
sick
could
of the
freeze them to
toxic. Yeah,
death, sure.
yeah, you could just totally. If yeah, just go ahead, just put them in the room and just let them freeze. That's fine too.
All
You
right.
if you
Well,
want to be like the Sims and just kill off your Sims for no reason,
yeah.
by all means do so. It's not going to be beneficial to your playthrough whatsoever, but so it goes. So, yeah, Oxygen not included. That was the first game, number five.
Mhm.
Moving right along, number four is a game that I think you appreciate a little bit more. It's called Don't
Mhm.
Starve. They're specifically Don't Starve Together. That's the co-op version of this game.
Yeah.
And this is another game by the same company actually that created Oxygen Not Included. I think it was Klei Entertainment or Klei, Klei or IE something.
Mhm.
Anyway, this game's hard. I want to play it more, but like it's just like it's difficult enough where you have to wiki everything and things will kill you if you're not prepared for it. Like I was doing fine, and then around I don't know what season it was, but all these dogs started attacking me, these hounds, and I died. I'm like, where did they come from? I had no idea this was happening, and that turned me off. So like on my
Yeah.
next playthrough, I'm like, okay, I got to prepare for these dogs. And I got through a couple of waves, but they just kept coming and getting stronger and more of them, and I got pissed. Eventually, I got to the custom mode setting where you can turn off the hounds. But then
Mhm.
I got to winter, and I'm like, oh crap, nothing's growing in winter. Those berry bushes I was harvesting, so now what do I do? And in days
Mhm.
of yore, you could actually keep live rabbits inside chests and they would stay alive forever. Like you could have
Mhm.
just chests after chest of full of rabbits, live rabbits, and they wouldn't go bad. They've patched that to the point now where if you store rabbits in a chest, they'll die, and then there's a limit on how well they stay fresh.
Mhm.
So that's the next thing in this game. It's that winter. This game is brutal in the winter. It will kill
Yes.
you.
Mhm.
Even the summertime after that is even worse, where you need an ice cube or some kind of trinket to stay cool. But you have to get clothes. You're the one character that you can pick can grow a beard, and that'll keep you slightly warm. But
Mhm.
primarily, you have to be prepared for that winter via parka or whatever clothes you got.
Yep.
You like this game, and have you gotten
I
to winter in this?
I think I have, but I die every time. It's a very difficult game. I watch YouTubers like be amazing at this, and I don't know how they do it, but it's a very very difficult game. This is a wiki heavy game too.
It
Like
is.
everything can spoil, like all the food can spoil. You freeze to death. You can drown or something, and I don't know. The enemies are so tough. It's a very hard game,
Yeah, it's
and
weird. It's like you'll be
mhm,
walking around and then, oh look, a tree just came to life and now it's attacking me. Oh, it's following me back to my base. Oh, it just killed everything in my base.
mhm.
Great. Or wait a minute, my torch ran out. Now all these hands are coming after me. How do I fend them off? Oh, now they're grabbing fire out of my campfire, and now I can't see. Oh, now there's a giant bird with a giant eyeball and a
Hmm.
beak nose. Oh, now there's bees. Like this game does not hold your hand whatsoever. It will
No.
destroy you. It's like you said, a very wiki heavy game.
Yeah.
The
Oxygen
mhm,
not included is very
it
similar though
is
in that
Cly
sense.
Entertainment needs to do something about their in-game wikis. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, don't starve and don't starve together. Very brutal winners that will kill your character if you're not prepared for them.
Yep.
So, all right, moving on to number three. I promise to keep this quick. RimWorld. RimWorld is a top-down colony survival game. I have not beaten it. I have not like gotten to end game, but I've played it enough to really enjoy it.
Hmm.
This game has seasons, and if you're not prepared for the winter, typically it's more hunger that will kill you, but you still need electricity to run heaters. You can still build campfires and the like. Have you had any issues with the winters in this game or anything like that?
Yes. I have trouble. This is another difficult game.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the settings that you can put though, like they're super customizable, and
Mm-hmm.
if they're still not as customizable, it's actually very easy to go into the config file and adjust things. So
See,
very easy.
there are settings like when you create a new game, you can create. There's different AI settings. Like there's the Phoebe AI, and there's the Jack whatever AI whatever it is. Like you can pick different AIs, and they have different behaviors, and how often you get
Mhm.
attacked by bandits and that kind of thing. Um, I had no idea about the config file though.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very easy. So,
Of course it
I
is.
I remember when I was so sick of the threats, but I still wanted to play somewhat of a challenge, but I was really sick of all the bandits that kept coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the file and only made it so that every time a bandit came in, it was just one person.
Oh, okay.
So
That's not terrible.
yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
was fine. And then I just took it away whenever I felt that that was too easy. But this game is really tough. This one doesn't hold your hand. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about zoning. I love all the updates that they've done. The map update, the caravan update. It is so cool to actually take some villagers, take a caravan, and then go to a different biome or a
Mm-hmm.
planet or whatever.
I've never
It's
gotten that
so.
far.
I think I only did it once
Can
on
you
like
like
super
trade
easy.
between your camps? Is that how it works or
I don't believe so. I think once you finish that camp, it's done,
Oh,
and I
so you
think it
move
gets
on and you
taken
can't go
over.
back to your existing one?
I think so.
I'll have to look into that cuz that
Yeah,
doesn't sound right, but I mean at the same time what do
I
I
don't
know?
remember. I could be wrong,
Mhm.
but but I remember having fun with this one, and I still want to keep playing it. I want to get to the point where I have like a choke point and have turrets, and just like demolish everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a pretty tough little game, and the winter is brutal.
Mhm. I love that the characters in this game have such detailed uh, maladies and descriptors of what's wrong with them. So it'll say their left leg was bitten or their right arm was blown off or whatever. Unrelated, well, kind of related, funny story.
Hmm.
Um, when I first started playing this, and I didn't know what I was doing, I'll just pretend like it was a new game,
Hmm.
even though I've been playing this for years.
Hmm.
I captured someone and I was trying to convert them into my little posse,
Hmm.
where I put them in a jail cell and then they died. I'm like,
Yeah.
what in the world is going on? I hovered my mouse over their room just to see what I could see, and the temperature was like 150 degrees. I'm like, wait a
Ooh.
minute. What's going on in here? What? And then I realized, oh, I have a furnace next door to their jail room. So I torched them alive. Like I put them in an oven,
You cook
essentially.
them.
I
Yeah.
cooked them alive. I felt so bad. But I'm just saying, like, that is the realism when it comes to the temperature in this game. Like,
Hmm.
it's brutal. Like, I learned my lesson from here on out, but still, yeah, that was an experience I won't forget. But,
Okay, so a caravan can actually move or settle to create a new colony. They can actually enter back into the colony. Interesting.
okay.
They could split, they could merge, they could trade, they could
But
attack.
can you control both at the same time? Or does it generate resources
Um,
automatically, or how does that work? Does it say?
No, I mean, there's a whole wiki page that
That's what I
I'll
mean.
link you
Another
to
wiki
it.
heavy
Yeah.
game that you need to look up.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, that was RimWorld. Anything else to say about it before we quickly move on to number two?
It, it's a fantastic game. I
Agreed.
love this one,
Agreed.
and it has the same graphics as Prison Architect, which I also love.
You
So
like Prison Architect?
I
Why?
do.
I don't play that one as much.
Hmm.
Is it just the building aspect, or do you like managing like the prisoners, or like what is it that you like?
I like both, but I really like managing the prisoners. Like I like trying to see if I can reform a prisoner, or like
Hmm.
try to see like looking at all the prisoners and seeing how their day is going. I think it's kind of cool to be a warden.
You just like spying on people just to
That
see
too.
what they're doing.
I mean, hey,
Oh, so you're going
I'm
over
a Sims
key.
player,
Yeah, I see.
so.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, moving on to number two. It's
Hmm.
a game called Frostpunk. Now, this is definitely more obviously than the title suggests it. Very cold, heavy game. It's a post-apocalyptic environment where everything is cold, unless you're playing one of the DLCs, in which case it's like a pre-post-apocalyptic thing. But anyway, you have
Hmm.
this huge generator in the middle of your town, and it will generate heat. So as long as you're feeding it coal, and you're using other resources around you like wood and metal and other things to construct buildings, because what happens is as the game progresses the temperature gets colder and colder and colder, and in order to combat that you have to upgrade your stuff. You
Hmm.
have to construct more buildings. You have to, once you get the technology, you have to build these buildings. You need infirmaries because people will get frostbite and won't work. So if you have no workers, you're screwed.
Yeah.
um, your people need food, but primarily the main enemy in this game is the cold.
Hmm.
There's no zombies. There's no second faction that will invade you or anything. It's just the cold, and it's a really beautiful, nasty game. The soundtrack is phenomenal. I love the soundtrack in this. I don't claim to be very good at this. The endless mode is great, but I feel like it's like one of those. It's one of those endless modes where once you get over the first 15-20 minutes, then you can coast the rest of the way. It's
Mm.
one of those endless modes where once you get started, you're fine, but getting to that point is extremely challenging because if you
Hmm.
don't do things in the right order or quickly enough, you're screwed. But
Yeah.
at some point, endless mode will cap off at a certain temperature, and then there's no threat anymore because you've already protected yourselves. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I really, really enjoy this. And Frostpunk 2 is coming out, and I'm really excited for that. I don't know when it's coming out. There's also a Frostpunk board game that should be available soon that I would love to try if it weren't for the fact that it looks extremely complicated to play, and it'd be just easier to play the video game at this point. But what are your thoughts on Frostpunk?
Oh my gosh, I adore this game. This game hits me right in the feels. Like I feel my people freezing to death and starving, and I feel like such a horrible governor sometimes when I have to make awful decisions. I mean
Mm-hmm.
I have to sometimes you have no choice, but it is it's a very ambient, what how do you say it?
Ambient heavy game.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
ambientistic. I don't
Yes,
know. Is that a
ambientation
word?
game. It's yeah.
But the music is fantastic. It really feels cold too. And it feels like when you're
Mhm.
coming towards the end and when the storm is actually getting closer, it's like, oh my gosh, I really have to warm my city up. What's gonna happen? And it has that intense feeling at the end.
Mhm.
Especially when you lose.
It's awful. Yeah, the worst feeling is you spend an hour to an hour and a half building up this city, and then typically you're confronted with a final storm that is brutal, and there's nothing you can do at that point because
Mhm.
once the storm hits, if you send your people outside to work, they die. You just have to hope that you have enough resources to make it through the storm and see the end of the game.
Yeah.
And when you start seeing that, oh, my food is blinking at me, I'm almost out of food. Oh crap, my coal reserves are going down. Oh great, 15 people now got frostbite. Oh,
Mhm.
great. Now this is happening. And you're watching your city slowly fall apart through this incredibly intense cold storm. And then, like, that happened to me. I was watching this happen,
Mhm.
and I'm sitting there enacting everything I can. Hope is
Child
falling,
labor.
discontent, yeah, child labor. I'm like, get out there and get to work, you 3 year
Yeah.
old. Hold this, Anyway, yeah, I felt bad. I was feeding people like slop and wood chips at that point. Like, it was terrible. But then, like, at the very last second, the storm let up. I had like 50 casualties. There was only
Mhm.
like a third of my colony died off. But I
Mhm.
made it through the storm and I got the victory screen. I'm like, whew. And there's no better feeling. It was like adrenaline filled for like 5 minutes straight,
Yeah.
watching my city fall apart around me. Um, oh, this game is so good. I can't wait to see what the second one does.
The sound design for Frostpunk is so top notch. It's ridiculous.
I love that
It's
the screen gets all like when the storm hits. Every now
mhm.
and again, your screen goes white. Like it, you can. It's like your car windshield frosting over. Your computer monitor does something similar on screen, of
Mhm.
course. And just the bell, the ding 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 ding. All right, everyone, back to work. Or
Mhm.
just the sounds, like you said, are very well done. I feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
And then watching the people truck through the snow, leaving little foot trails,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And then you've got, like you said, the decisions that you have to make as you're playing. Do I go this religious route or do I go the heavy totalitarian security, like there's no freedom whatsoever, kind of like
Mhm.
curfews? What do I do? What kind of city am I going to design?
Mhm.
And there's a lot of replayability here. I'm sure there's a meta, so I'm sure
Mhm.
people have figured out that meta. But
Mhm.
from time to time, I love booting this up and just enjoying the experience.
It reminds me so much of This War of Mine, like
Mm-hmm.
graphically,
Mm-hmm.
and it has that morbid, um, sentimental, sad feeling
Mm-hmm. You can
in the
see the
game.
discontent bar rising as people get more and more mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty funny, but it's fantastic. That's an easy recommendation for that.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to this war of mine, I swear.
Oh no, you're
We've
fine.
got some. We've got a lot of games that we wanted to mention, but couldn't in a top five.
Mm.
I guess we'll just move on to the first one here. The
Uh,
Long Dark, number one. So this is the game that I've been playing a lot lately, and then I just read that with the DLC coming out, it's going to erase my save. It won't be compatible. So I have to start.
Really?
Yeah, so I stopped playing it, but I still wanted to mention it anyway because I enjoy the Long Dark. Is yes, wolves can kill you, nature can kill you, but primarily it's the cold that will kill you
Mhm.
if you're not careful. Nothing is worse in this game than going out and about and looking around, scavenging resources, and then a blizzard comes and you can't see 2 feet in front of you. The map in this game does not tell you where you are. You have to use landmarks around you to figure that out. And in addition to that, you have to use charcoal during a sunny day to even map out the area around you. And it still doesn't tell you where you are on that map. So,
Yeah.
like, this blizzard, when it hits, you're in trouble. You're kind of screwed. I mean, like, you just have to go in one direction and hope that you hit some kind of landmark that you recognize and then follow it to safety.
Hmm.
The only thing I don't like about this game is that your character is like he's made of bamboo. His bones
It's
have
so
no
fragile.
calcium. Yeah, like walking in this game, I trip and like it's just my ankle is constantly being sprained in this game. Walking
Hmm.
up a hill or down a hill in this game is near impossible because I'm always spraining my ankle or my
Hmm.
wrist. I got to a point where I was walking up a steep hill chasing a wolf that I had injured, and I broke both my hands, and I couldn't even throw a rock because both of my hands were sprained. And then there's this wolf that's like there's another set of wolves at the top of the hill. I'm like, I can't even do anything. I can't even bring my flare up to fight them off because I can't use my hands right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, So how far did you get with the Long Dark? Did you
I got far in campaign mode, I
campaign? I've
think.
never played
Yes.
the campaign. Is it good?
Mm.
You would recommend it?
It I absolutely recommend it. It's really fun. The story is actually really intriguing, and this is another one of those sound design awesome games.
Is the
So,
campaign the same for the male and female character? I'm assuming it
um,
is.
I didn't even know there was a female character,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, they're voiced by a female. It's a very famous female voice actor. I just don't remember who she is at this point, but
Hmm.
I do remember that there is a female voice actor, a female
Okay.
character slash voice in this game. But
I
um,
got I got to the end of the first chapter, like almost to the end of it, and I was only the male guy.
okay,
So maybe they're on the second chapter or the third one. I know there's like multiple chapters, but maybe those have the women in it. I've never played as her actually.
okay.
So
Have you played the survival mode, like
I
the
have not.
endless? Okay, so we're on
Mhm.
opposite ends here.
Yeah.
I have not played the campaign, but I've strictly played survival.
Hmm.
You've played the campaign. Is the
Hmm.
campaign scripted, or do you still have freedom to go out and look for things?
It's scripted, but you can definitely go out and look for things. It's just every time you come across, like, it'll kind of lead you to a certain place, but you can detour like off that path. But when you get to a place where the script wants you to be, it has like this cutscene. You have like this whole story
Mm.
thing, and it's pretty impressive, I think.
Can you build a base and stay there a while, or are you forced to be a nomad and take what you can with you at all times? Does that make any sense? Because
Yeah.
in
So,
my endless mode, I've got outposts. I've got a main base, and I've got outposts littered with supplies.
mhm.
Whereas in the campaign, if you're scripted and forced to move, like how often do you go back to old bases or outposts that you may have created?
You can have outposts, but it just prolongs the story. I
Mm.
usually take everything with me and then pull up a base, that's next to where I think the next story is going to be. So if I walk into like all these different houses that are next to me, I hole up there until the next storyline comes in.
Hmm.
So you still have the freedom to do it. It might just prolong the script a little bit.
Okay. Well, as long as I have the freedom, I mean, I might try the campaign. I don't know if it's finished though. They keep releasing the campaign in like chapters or whatever,
Hmm.
and I don't know if it's done yet. I don't want to play it and then like not finish it and then not know where I left off. If that makes any sense, I like to
Yeah,
complete it from start to finish in
I
one
do
go
too.
rather than split it up across several months. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the first chapter is actually quite short. So
okay.
you should be able to actually finish that real quick and see if you like it or not.
The what I do remember, and I don't know if they've changed it. I remember a plane crash, and I remember a cave, and I had to start a fire, and it was a very
Hmm.
small little area. But I don't
Yeah.
remember too much beyond that. I don't think I did too much beyond that.
Hmm.
So yeah, the Long Dark is a game where temperature can kill you.
Yes.
I mean, wolves will kill you. Like I said, there are bears. Hunger is another thing, calories, but I think the game does an excellent job. You can hear your character, shivering every now and again, making noises like, I'm so cold, I can't feel my feet.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's
yeah.
not annoying like in other games too. It's actually fitting,
Hmm.
and he's not very annoying when he does it.
He
The
sounds a little
rabbit
like
killing.
Duke Nukem. Where is it? Like, or,
Oh gosh.
like he sounds, that he's so, oh, so cold. Like,
Yeah.
he's so guttural, if that makes any
It's
sense. Yeah.
yeah. The thing is with the rabbits, man, that breaks my heart every time.
Sorry. Yeah, it just so happens I'm playing the part where, yes, you can
Mm,
throw rocks at rabbits, and then as they're down, you break their neck and you cook
oh,
them. Yeah. Sorry,
this
it's part hunting is part of this game. Unfortunately, it's
it
just
is. Mhm.
you can in theory live off of cattails, which is like these are just they're little plants that grow out of the ground, and they're pretty sustainable. You could do that. You don't
Mhm.
have to hunt, but you get the most nutrition from hunting.
Yeah.
Rabbits don't give you a whole lot, but they do give you fur, which you can use to craft mittens and other clothes. So I do
Mhm.
like to go after them every now and again. But wolf and deer are better. If you can chase a deer into the path of a wolf, the wolf will kill it, and then if you scare off the wolf, then you get free deer meat. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or if you manage to kill the wolf, it's a 2 for 1 kind of thing. So there
Yeah.
are strategies in this game, but again, it's brutal in the sense that moving in this game is very slow. So the act
Hmm.
of going from one location to another is a long. It feels like I'm going from like Earth to the moon. Like it's so. It takes so long to do. My character is so slow, and
It takes even longer with the update that they implemented, where if you run up a hill, your ankle will break. So you actually have to be slow when you're traversing difficult terrain.
even walking up the hill in my recent playthrough off camera,
Hmm.
just the act of walking up a hill made my ankles break.
Really?
Just
I wonder if you
walking.
have to have like
Maybe I have
certain
to
stats.
crouch. Maybe I have to crouch. I don't know. I just know that it's annoying.
Yes.
Extremely annoying. And climbing in this game, trying to climb a rope, like it's climbing a rope from like up to the next cliff face or whatever, if it's there.
Hmm.
That is a whole thing on its own. You have to make sure that you're full on stamina and food and you're prepared to do it, that kind of thing.
If
But
you carry too much weight, you can actually break your ankle.
yeah, mm-hmm.
That's so
That's probably
silly.
what happened. I was bringing stuff back, and then I went up a slight incline, and then I saw the
Mm.
little red warning, like the incline warning, and then,
Oh
oh wow,
man.
great, thank you, appreciate it. So, all right, well that
The
was, mm-hmm,
Oh, sorry. One real quick. The one thing I really don't like about Long Dark is that it's very hard to aim. You actually have to use your thumb as kind of a crosshair, and even then, you have to position it slightly higher because there's like gravity in the game. So
mm-hmm,
it's a bit too realistic in that sense for me, actually.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, one of these days I'll craft a spear and just chuck it. You know.
Okay, if you can manage to do that, great. I'm fine with the rocks. The
Mm-hmm.
trick
Yeah.
is to get the rabbit between the thumb and the forefinger, like
Mm.
directly in between. And if you just crouch and wait, if you go into the path of the rabbit and crouch and wait, it comes to you and it gets very close
Mm.
before it runs away. So it's just a
Okay.
matter of figuring out, like, if you can time it right. But other than that, it's pretty simple. It's hard to do it first. It is
Yeah.
frustrating, but yeah.
I'm still a newbie at that. It's been a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Well, that was our top five games that we wanted to mention that we were talking about off camera.
Mhm.
7 Days to Die does have a frost mechanic in it. It's a zombie open world post apocalyptic thing. Um, it only really comes into play though when you're in the cold biome. Does it actually do damage to you? I think it does.
I'm pretty sure it does
Mm-hmm.
actually.
So there
So.
is. It's not as detrimental because like if you stay in the temperate biome, typically temperature won't hurt you at
Mhm.
all. And you can stay there for your entire playthrough if you want. You don't have to venture into the cold biome if you don't want to.
Yep.
But 7 Days to Die does have that. No Man's Sky does have environments on different planets that can kill you, but it was so like situational. It's not like it's a seasonal thing where you have to watch out for. It can happen, but it's because you're there on purpose.
Mhm.
Deep Rock Galactic, there's a couple of levels that are ice related, and you can freeze, and that won't kill you. However, you could get attacked by things that can kill you while you're frozen. So again, very situational
Yeah.
kind of thing. The Sims, you mentioned this, and I thought about it, and like I've never had a character freeze to death in The Sims, but apparently it is
Mhm.
possible to do.
It is
Is that
very
just because
possible.
you're standing outside in the rain? Like, why would you ever? Like, how is it possible to accidentally freeze to death rather than on purpose? Like,
If you're outside and you're collecting rocks or fishing or something and you're like super far away from your house, and you're trying to like run back to your house because you don't have a car, you
uh,
can freeze to death. You can be like too cold, so you
okay,
have to wear layers and layers of clothing, which is actually
interesting.
kind of cool.
So is this Sims 2, 3, or 4 that you're talking about?
This is Sims 4, but I think Sims 3 has it too because Sims 3 is actually a little bit more important because it has the whole world view, so it's not like you can pick a building and
Mm-hmm.
then load into it. You actually have to traverse, you have to
Mm-hmm.
actually have to travel there in real time.
Gotcha.
So, I'm pretty sure it's in Sims 3. I know that it's in Sims 4 though, for
Okay.
sure.
You mentioned Flame in the Flood, but that's a game I haven't played in several years.
Mhm.
Do you remember anything about that?
There's definitely a freeze mechanic. You have to collect wood and stay warm by the fire. Um, when it rains, you can. like freeze to death. I'm pretty sure at least.
I remember the top-down raft, and you can go
Mhm.
onto islands and look around. There are animals that try and kill you, but I don't remember the frost thing. So,
I don't. Maybe it's a thing. Hold on.
maybe, yeah, I don't
Maybe
know, but I
maybe
haven't
you're
played it, so
confused.
I'll take your word for it.
But the soundtrack for that game is top notch. I still hear it.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Frost is a card game on Steam. It's a survival card game that involves wintertime. I covered it once or twice, haven't played it a whole lot, but I do want to come back to it. But yeah, you're gathering resources and trying to, uh, I think, travel a certain distance before your time limit expires or something like that. So check out Frost, the card game. You also mentioned Ark Survival Evolved, but again, I've never had a character actually freeze to death in that game. Typically,
Mhm.
if I just go into a house or built a very quick lean-to or just a little shelter, it combats the cold until the morning, and then I'm fine.
Yeah,
So
it's a little hard to freeze to death in Ark, but if it's raining or like if you just got into a lake and you go outside and there's no warmth, like no shelter, you can actually freeze to death. You can lose health slowly.
okay.
Mhm.
Northgard was a thing that you brought up, and I actually contemplated putting on this list because Northgard has a forced season mechanic, and in
Mhm.
the wintertime, your wood and your food consumption is like doubled unless you're a particular faction or whatnot. And that was a really good one because I've had a lot of nail biting moments in Northgard where I've watched, sort of like in Frostpunk, I watched my resources dwindle and there's nothing I can do about it. And I just have to hope that spring comes along before I run out of resources.
Mhm.
It's not that game changing, but it is it's impactful enough, is what I will say.
I
Uh,
freeze to death a lot in Northgard, especially
really?
on hard
Well,
mode.
you're on hard mode, that's why.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's still a game changer, I think. Like if I don't have enough wood to warm up my people, that's it. Like they're all dead.
Mm-hmm. All right, makes sense. We also mentioned off camera Valheim. It's a game I haven't played in a couple years. I remember a smoke mechanic, and it can kill you, and that if you don't ventilate your buildings, smoke can actually kill you.
Mhm.
What the cold though? You mentioned that cold can kill you in this game too.
Yes, I even made sure to wiki it. Valheim, it says that when you're cold, you actually lose health and stamina by 50%.
Oh,
So indirectly, it can kill you because
the
enemies
game's
can
tough
come in.
enough. If a tree
Yeah.
falls on you, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
This War of Mine, we mentioned that as well, and that was another game I thought about putting on the list because it is a post-apocalyptic world, very bleak one. Very, you mentioned it earlier. It's kind of like
mhm,
Frostpunk in that, you are in charge of these human beings that are not superheroes, and you're faced with a situation where food is scarce. There is a cold. There is fear of cold. I think in this War of Mine, though, it starts off where you're fine, and then as the game goes on, there's like a winter, and you have to build a furnace to combat the heat, or the heat
mhm,
loss, or something like that. So there is winter or slash a cold wave in this War of Mine. I've
mhm,
never actually beaten this game. What keeps me from playing it are the poor combat controls. I don't know, like if it's just me, but let's say that I see someone, I've got a knife ready, and I want to sneak up on him and attack him, but then my character does something weird and then he notices me and then I click on him to try and kill him and then it's like I don't know what's happening and then I die and I've lost a very important character. So it's like I lost the character not because I was unprepared, but because I was fighting the controls and not understanding what was going on. That's what
mhm,
turned me off from this War of Mine. But I
mhm,
love the rest of it. I love the base building and the food gathering and that kind of thing. But the combat in this War of Mine was very difficult for me to understand and grasp. But I do want to come back to it though, so I can
mhm.
try it again.
Yeah, it's a
Did
pretty
you
good
enjoy
game.
that title?
Yeah, I did. It like you said, that was the word I was looking for, bleak, by the way.
Bleak. Okay.
Yes. Um, but yeah, it's a pretty crazy game. The combat I wasn't too fond of either.
Mm-hmm.
It has that Fallout Shelter view of looking into rooms, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So yeah.
The
Oh,
Forest. Okay.
I'm sorry, real quick. In the Flame in the Flood, there is body temperature you have to manage, and
Okay.
you can actually freeze to death. Sorry,
Okay.
just wanted to
No,
throw
no,
that
no.
out
That's
there.
good. That's good because that we were unsure.
Hmm.
The Forest. I think you had mentioned that one as well.
Hmm.
I haven't played that one lately. I just remember being beaten up by cannibals, dragged underground, and then that's where I'm kind of like whatever. So I got fed up with it. So there is a cold mechanic in that game.
Yes, there is. I Googled that one too, and I've only played like the first 5 minutes of it. I there was like a plane crash or something,
Hmm.
and then I saw these weird looking people, and then I exited out and played Ark.
I
So
see. No, fair enough.
yeah, but yeah, there is yes, there is a freezing mechanic environment. Rain, stars, day, night, snow. Um, I know I saw it somewhere, but yeah,
Okay,
okay, I won't.
fair enough.
Temperature right here is the survival mechanic. If a player's temperature is too low, they will become cold, which both decreases energy faster and makes frost damage possible. Okay,
Okay. The last one
interesting.
I have written here is Cards Survival Tropical Island. When you think tropical, you think, oh, it's fine. Your character overheats more often than not, but during rainstorms, your character can freeze.
Yes.
So, Card Survival, that I love that game, and that was actually something I put on my top 10 for this video game. I think I did. Either it was in my honorable mentions or I mentioned it. I can't remember which. I'm pretty sure
I
it
think
was.
you mentioned it. I think it was in the top 10.
Was it?
The,
Okay.
the card survival, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's just the learning curve is high, and there's a lot of things that can kill you in that. But
Hmm.
temperature is a big problem in that game. But anyway,
Hmm.
did you have any
That
other honorable mentions? Huh?
I did actually.
Okay, go for it.
Sorry. I was gonna say I have a few more.
Go for
The
it.
Skyrim survival mode
I have not played it.
has
I want to. That sounds fun.
yeah, I was reading that it's actually really brutal for people who aren't prepared. And there is a freeze mechanic in that too, which is kind of crazy.
Is that a mod you
Um
have to install, or is that part of the game itself?
it's part of the game itself,
I might have to
surprisingly.
try this.
There's hunger, there's all sorts of things. It's kind of crazy.
That would make the game 30 times longer than what it already is.
Yeah.
That would be like I would be able to beat the game in 5 years time. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure because you'd have to that makes horses all the more important in that game. Is
Mhm.
there fast travel in survival mode?
I
I can't imagine
believe
there
so.
is.
Really? I don't know. It says right here the specific changes are hunger. You can become hungry, fatigue, exhaustion, cold. Skyrim is now divided into warm, cold, and freezing climates.
Hmm.
There's warmth. There's freezing water now. There's no fast travel in the game.
I thought so. Could you
Yep.
imagine that?
Uh,
That is so rough.
that's gotta be
I
fun though.
forgot something at home. Now I have to go for an hour back the way I can. Like, oh my god,
Oh, here's a kicker. To level up, you must now sleep in a bed.
that's not terrible. I
Yeah,
mean, if you
and
once you get a home, it's fine, but still.
there's there's no health regeneration. So you have to actually use restoration spells or food or potions to
Okay.
eat.
Heal
Hmm.
that heal spell that you have with your hand. That's completely easy.
Yeah.
You just wait for your. Now, if mana didn't recharge, that would be an awful thing. Does mana
Yeah.
recharge? Does,
I don't know. It
okay.
doesn't say. So I'm assuming it does. They reduce the carry weight significantly, which is
Oh,
kind of crazy.
wow. So how are you supposed to loot everything from the dungeon then? Like, when I go into a dungeon, I come out with 300 pounds worth of stuff
Yeah, me
because
too.
I want to sell all of this stuff and
Lock picks now have a weight.
lock picks have a weight. Oh
And
my
then there's
god.
new types of arrows. Um, there's a enchanted carry weight item will not stop the drain, although it will let you move at a normal rate. There's disease, so
Oh wow.
there's food poisoning if you eat uncooked meat. Um, if you fail to cure the disease, it can progress into a serious
How do you earn money in
version.
this game if there's no fast travel? I mean, like, how do you make money in this?
I
What do you do?
don't
Do you
know.
work a 9 to 5 job in the tavern in Winterhelm or whatever? I don't know.
I don't know, but
Stormhelm, whatever.
That's funny that you say that. Shrines are no longer free. You have to make a gold offering in order to
Oh
receive
my
shrine.
gosh.
I want to try this still though.
Oh,
Oh, vampires and werewolves can restore their hunger by feeding on victims. Okay.
might have to be a vampire at this point. All right. Any other games that you have written there?
Yes. I have banished. Um.
Okay. Yeah, Banished has a similar winter mechanic that will kill your people. If
Oh
you
yeah.
don't have coal, or is it wood or coal? I don't remember.
Probably both.
Yeah, I think there's a coal burner that you can build, and wood turns into coal.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, banished is a big one for me. City Skylines is a big one for me. For
Yeah.
me.
Okay. All right. I have to draw the line. Yes, there are maps with a winter mechanic, but
But
people
even if
don't
there
die;
was,
they just move out. Like it's not that.
that's true. But if you're not earning like good money, people moving out is really detrimental. If you leave your pipes frozen, your water pipes frozen, your town is just gonna go to crap.
All
So you
right.
have to keep your
I
pipes
bow
warm.
to your opinion.
My wrong opinion.
You're wrong.
All
I
right.
bow. I will appease your wrong opinion. Yeah.
And then the other one is Medieval Dynasty. It's very, very light, like you said off
Yeah, I
camera.
mentioned this in the DGA awards. Like the cold mechanic, you feel it for the first year in the
Mhm.
winter, whatever. But once you have the perk or once you have the clothes, it is no longer an issue for the rest of the game. And my
Yeah.
character is never once overheated. Like the
Hmm.
temperature in that game just isn't like that detrimental.
Depending on the custom settings that you put, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't
Hmm.
know if there's one for temperature or not. If there is, I'll have to look at it.
Hmm.
Because that would
And then
be.
I,
Hmm.
oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that would be fun to manage more closely.
Yeah, it would.
Hmm.
My last one is Planet Zoo.
Planet Zoo.
Yes,
Um,
because
okay. Planet Zoo.
yes, I'll explain. I'll
There are a lot
explain.
of there are a lot of
So,
winter snaps in Planet
so
Zoo.
if you choose the tundra biome, and you put in desert animals in that tundra biome, they can freeze.
Okay, just because it can doesn't mean it's like it's not a game. This is something that you would do on purpose to
No,
torture
no,
digital
no, no, no.
animals.
No, you have to actually build a shelter for them. Like you should have a mix of animals in different biomes,
Says
but
you.
you need to but you need to build like the appropriate shelter. And if you don't build it well enough, they can freeze. They can have like low welfare and lose their health, and then people will get mad and your zoo will just tank. And it's pretty interesting. I like the freeze mechanic, but even if you don't go into the tundra biome and you go into like a temperate one, there's still seasons. So it will eventually snow. So if you have like a mix of a bunch of different animals in your temperate biome, you still need to provide ceilings and shelter for them.
Hmm.
So I think that freeze mechanic or the cold mechanic is very important in that game. And there's they implemented a new temperature thing. Water is not neutral temperature anymore. It starts off cold. So you actually have to have a water heater in order to warm it up so that they can bathe in it.
Wow. Okay, that's weird. I
Hmm.
still Planet Zoo. I want to play more of, but the managing reproduction in that game is a pain in the butt because like I
It's
end up I put a spider.
mhm,
I've mentioned this before to you off camera, but I
mhm.
put a spider thing down with a male and a female in it, and then they
Yeah,
had like 15 babies, and
yeah,
then 10 of those babies had 30 more babies each, and then
yeah.
I had like it was arachnophobia the park at that point. I had 50 spider
Mhm.
things. Like I had an entire section to my park. I had all these freaking spiders, and as many as I every time I sold or got rid of 50 of them,
Mhm.
100 more would. I'm like, my
Why?
God. And I know
Why?
there's a way that you can turn off the
Contraceptives.
yes, I know that, but then they die off and then you don't have them anymore.
If you,
I want to tell one or two. I wish I could set limits. I wish
mhm.
I could go apply contraceptives so that the maximum population in this pen or habitat is say 5 or 10. I
Yeah.
want to tell the computer what limit to set and then I want it to follow that. Can I
Mhm.
do that? If the answer is no, then I'm probably still not going to touch that game until they do
You
it.
you can't do that in franchise mode, but you can sort of do that in sandbox mode. In sandbox, you can actually
Sus.
set. No, you can set the number. You can set in sandbox mode. You can actually disable birthing and death rates. So you can actually have your own like however
I
many
want
animals that you
animals to
want.
be born and die, but I
Hmm.
don't want to have to manage the population of the habitats that closely all the time.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in the, like, let's say I've got, like, in the beginning of the game, it's not bad, but once you have 20 or 25 habitats, and you've got five of them yelling at you because, oh, we're too cramped. Now you've got to stop what you're doing and spend an hour figuring out how to fix that before you can go back to expanding your park even further.
Yeah. The spiders was a really bad choice because spiders do breed quite a bit, especially anything
No,
that's
really.
especially any
Really.
exhibit animals.
I see.
You would have to look at the animal list and see which animals cannot breed that often. Hippos, elephants, polar bears are and wolves actually are really good at keeping population pretty tight, you know. So
Is it
it
possible
just
in Planet Zoo just to have one habitat and this one animal? I want a
yes.
park dedicated to 800 wolves. Just
Yeah, you can. You
is it
can absolutely do
profitable?
that. Yes, I have it. I have something
Seriously?
like that. Yes,
So
my lemurs.
you don't need different animal types to stay profitable. You can have
Nope.
one large
You
habitat.
can. You don't even have to have animals. You can have shops.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
A
yeah. You
zoo
can
that
have.
has no
Well,
animals in
no,
it.
no, no. You can have. You can have. When I first started on my Planet Zoo thing, I remember having one little cage and one little animal in it. And I had a bunch of shops, like a ton of shops, and I decreased like the price because I only had like one animal in my zoo, and I made a ton of money just off my shops. So that was pretty fun.
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess with that fun story out of the way, let's get right into our thank yous for our Patreon and Twitch people,
Mhm.
because we've actually talked for 50 minutes. We said
Jeez,
we were going to be quick, but we turned out no.
that's
Anyway,
crazy.
Patreon people, starting with Ratsies, he pledged 135 bucks for a lifetime of 6,335, by far more than I expected. Thank you so much. Brian pledged 50 for a lifetime of 1,550. Again, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Greg Howe pledged $10 for a lifetime of 652. Mind a Lot $5 for a lifetime of 195. Rip Alpha pledged $1 for 68. Alyssa Barrett pledged $1 for 27, and a new Patreon member pledged, Aaron Jones pledged $1 for a lifetime of $1. So thank you so much, old and new subscribers, and thank you so much. Again, you guys know I haven't been working, so every little bit does help, and I do appreciate it. And if, in case you guys didn't know, Patreon people, you have a special channel on on my Discord. So if you go to my Discord channel, let me know that you're a Patreon member, and I will add you to that special channel. And it's a special channel that only I can see and other Patreon members can see, and you have better access to me should you want to ask me questions or whatever. Twitch subscribers, White Knight 74648 has been a subscriber for 56 months. Bessa 702, 54 months. Little Lily P, 24 months. And Nick Beard 50, 11 months. So thank you all for your contributions. It is very much appreciated. As a quick reminder, I am selling board games. So go to my website, dadsgamingaddiction.com. Board games for sale article, and there's a list of all the different games that you can buy there. And if you live in the Pittsburgh area, we'll meet up, and that way you don't have to pay shipping. Okay, Spanish sentence. Idly you won't be able to hear this because this is via YouTube, but here's the sound for that. I like how you're moving around and you can't even hear what it is. That's okay. I could be playing, some kind of death march, and you're sitting there, la 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 la.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
so you gave me this sentence. It's very short.
Yes. Very short. Very easy.
Hace frío aquí en la sala. So, hace have, but I don't think that's right. Have is another word in Spanish that I don't remember. Frio, I know frio is cold. I know frio. It's not Cleo's sister Frio. It's frio is cold. Aquí is now? No. Here? Now or here? It's one of those two. In the sala. Well, casa, maybe? No, casa's house, so maybe sala is related to casa, like hotel. I don't know. Hase and sala. So it's cold somewhere. Have cold doesn't make any sense. So maybe it is cold, or it's cold here, or cold now in the somewhere. But I don't know what sala is. I mean, there's no, unless I know the word for sala, I'm not going to know that. Maybe it's salsa, and she just forgot the s. It's possible. Is that the case?
What's your answer? What's your verdict?
It's frio. It's cold in the salsa. Because I don't know the word for sala. The salsa is cold. What is it really?
It says hace frío aquí en la sala, which means it's cold here in the living room. Sala is living room.
Oh, okay. What's hase? Is that it?
Hace is it. Yeah, like it is. So hace
Okay.
frío. It is. Frío is cold. Aquí is here.
It's here. Okay.
Ahora is now.
Now. It's right. I got my auroras and auroras and akis confused. So okay. All right. Well, there you go. Let me play this again.
I'm forgiven.
Okay, good enough. All right, so there you go, folks. That I should have let you kept. I should have like paused the music and let you kept doing that. It'd have been fun anyway. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vincent Idley. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take care.
Guys.